It's shifting the perception of life and death, the circle of life, the pulse of evolution. That's shifting in our planet, as well as it's shifting in ourselves and everything that has that life force energy. So we have contributed to the energy or the emotions, let's say, of this planet. And we've contributed in streams. And what is beautiful now is that, as never before, we are able to move around the planet. Now, you may have lifetimes on the other side of the planet. When you explore those incarnations of the soul, you are shifting, literally, what the planet has absorbed. When you shift what you have crystallized, it decrystallizes it in the earth. When your parents came from another planet, or, well, yes, another planet, from my perspective, or another part of the earth, and then you're born someplace else. When I gave birth in the sea, I started this project called, I forgot what it was called. Birth for Peace, that's what it was called. It was the concept of go somewhere else on the earth and give birth. Because when you go somewhere else on the earth and give birth, you create a point of reference that allows your energy to expand and link up. So we start weaving the matrix of our connectedness into this earth. And that's what's so beautiful about our traveling. And even if you're coming from Albuquerque, as you're driving from Albuquerque and you're watching the energy change from you know, the 5,000 feet to 6,200 feet coming here, and you see the difference in the trees and the hills. If you are conscious as you're driving, you can participate by extending energy, so that as you drive through, the whole earth is driving through with you. It's creating this momentum that's very important right now. My higher self has me traveling the earth like this right now. I can't even get home to change my clothes. Because it's really, my higher self is saying, take your energy and meld it and embrace all the energy in the earth and take in and become that and give off this. So that this matrix, this coming together of our emotional bodies, this coming together of our oneness as soul beings can be amplified right now. And it doesn't matter whether, again, you're coming from Albuquerque to Santa Fe or Albuquerque to Galisteo. If you have that consciousness, as I travel in light and I participate in that, then our world will change. It will change. And that's what we need. And if you do that, if you're extending light, if you're doing that and you feel this moving through, you will all of a sudden feel that you can move through the center of the earth. Or you can move through the sky. All these things that in the past, the civilizations, especially here in New Mexico, the Native American, they used something to get them there. Maybe it was peyote. Maybe it was something else. They used something. Now we have this. We don't need anything else. All we need is our consciousness. All we need is our choice. Oh, this is what it is. And you'll begin to feel the layers parting away. And when that happens, the crystallization of your conclusion, this is all there is, this is how it's happening, will fall away. And suddenly you become a part of the change. And that's what's really brilliant and wonderful about this moment for all of us. If you try to hold it back, forget it. You're going to be pulled in to this great evolution, and you're going to feel the collective consciousness of ourselves with all the other sentient beings of our earth itself shifting.
Could you talk about going with the flow, as far as instead of wanting to resist change, or how to really open up into that?
That's a very important point, because initially when that concept, when that phrase came in, oh, just go with the flow, we treated that as something that people who were drugged out, or who weren't present, or who were not paying attention to their lives were using that expression. Now that's come around to have a little bit different meaning for us. It doesn't mean don't pay attention. You know, there's that old expression, pray to Allah but tie up your camels. We're not here to float around and say, well, whatever happens. No, we're here to choose what happens. As Mandela said, I am the captain of my destiny. And that is where we are right now. So going with the flow means using consciousness to recognize synergy. Is this the moment? Is this the moment to make this step, to do this choice, to go in that direction? Through our consciousness, we can feel when something opens up. You know what it's like when you slam against the wall. I'm trying to get this created. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do it. Well, ask your higher self if this is the moment. What needs to open here in the hologram so that it happens with grace, so that it flows into you? Because when you run into the wall, you really want to say, what's this about for me? What's the gift? What do I need to learn by this wall? It might be just back off and go in another direction. And it might be take your grace and walk through the fire. You know? So going with the flow is a matter of consciousness that feels, what's the direction of the energy? Does that direction serve you? Because I could break down all of the great teachings over our planet into what's the direction of energy. So flow is a very important conversation. Why are we so sick right now? Why are we so sick? We have all the technology we never had before. We're sicker than we've ever been because we don't know what it means to go with the flow. Pain, tumors, cancer, whatever it is, whatever kind of disease you have, is simply something blocking the flow. Therefore, we really want to look at what is the flow. And that's why we developed at the Light Institute all of these technologies of consciousness, all of these many, many exercises in consciousness, capacity to touch into energies that will support us going with the flow. If you want to be stronger, then you really want to look at what's the flow doing inside you. Do you need to amplify that flow? Do you need to shift it a little bit? We ourselves do that. We can change our genetic encoding ourselves. And so going with the flow is really not the conversation of resisting. It's really not. Because we are really coming to a place where there is no resisting. The flow is getting louder and louder and stronger and stronger. You will not be able to hold back anymore, because if you hold back, you'll just get pushed into the river. And so it isn't our resistance, and that's what entregarse is about. Instead of trying to say, well, if I just do a little bit, it'll be okay. No, you really have to jump into the river. That doesn't mean that you don't lose your capacity to decipher what is good for me, how shall I do this, how do I use all my faculties? Because our mental faculties are important, but they're only one part of it. Higher mind, the mind of the genius, the mind that sees the hologram. That's the conversation that we need. So there are many ways to go with the flow, but the most essential way to do that is to come into contact with your own self. To come into contact with your higher self and your body. To come into a conversation that allows for guidance. Allows for you to say, this is what is necessary for me. And to allow your higher self and your body to create that. And to show you. Sometimes we have to go this way, but sometimes we have to go around that way. And sometimes we go this way. You know, it's not a straight line. Ascension is not a line from here to the sky. Never has it been, never will it be. And so going with the flow is an amplification of consciousness that sees the potential. I would say flow is potential. It's possibility. And when we move to the possibility, because we use our intuition, and we use the wisdom of our intellect and our heart, it's much easier than we think it is. We don't know where we're going necessarily. We won't. You can think it all you want, and it will go where it goes.